International workshop presenter, author, and psychotherapist Dr. Patti Ashley has been breaking through barriers to personal freedom and growth for 35 years. We are so thrilled to have Dr. Ashley on the Cocoa Couch today to give us her unique insight on relationships and belonging. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Now, I understand that it was in high school that you really realized that you wanted to make a life helping people who were at their lowest point in life. So how did that come to be?
I did. So when I was 11, my father died of a sudden heart attack. And I was raised in a Catholic family where I was told I should be happy because he was in heaven, and I wasn't happy. And I spent my adolescence kind of bumbling around thinking I'm not happy because he's not here. So I read this book, and it was about play therapy. And I went to the guidance counselor at my high school and said, I know what I want to do. And she said, you're not smart enough. So, because I was a struggling teen, I had lost my dad and I hadn't talked about it to anyone. So I ended up getting a different degree and eventually got my license and became a psychotherapist, which was thrilling for me because it is my life's work and I love it. Because I want to give people a place to talk about things that are hard to talk about.
Certainly. And it is amazing how we go through things only to learn that that's why we are where we're at.
Exactly, yeah.
I want to talk about your book. It's on display here. It's called Living in the Shadow of the Too Good Mother Archetype. Now, what is that, and can a mother be too good?
Yeah, actually. So it's based on my doctoral dissertation, which the name is similar, excavating the whole mother, integrating aspects of the Too Good Mother Archetype. And basically what we're looking at is an archetype of perfection. Women who go above and beyond what a mom ought to do. And I was a mom in the 80s. I was a young mom, and I had gotten a degree in special education and learned all about child development, was terrified that I was going to mess up my children. And I found that my peers were experiencing the same thing. So when I get my next degree in early childhood and I'm working for a pediatrician teaching parent education, women are saying the same thing. It's like, I can't get this right. What's wrong with me? Everybody else has got it, but me. And so I did my doctoral dissertation on what started out to be what's a good enough mother. And then as I gathered the data, it turned into a too good mother and how that's all in the unconscious around areas of shame and not enoughness, which is kind of a phenomenon for everyone I'm discovering, and my work is kind of evolving into that, which we'll talk more about when we get into authenticity architecture.
Yeah, I know, and I do want to get into that in a second. That's interesting that you say that about moms, because that is a feeling that I think moms, dads could never have, but it is something inside of us.
And they don't want to talk about it. You know, they feel like it's only them, and let me tell you, every mom out there, it's not just you.
Yeah,
it's a phenomenon. I can pretty much say for sure.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. All right, what do you think is the number one thing that we need to have in order to have healthy relationships?
I think authentic conversation and communication, and that's really hard because we've been taught to not talk about negative feelings. We've been taught to be happy and be good and get it all right. And I think that's a real big misunderstanding in our culture right now, is that everything ought to be good, when it's really a paradox of both and. And when we embrace paradox and we understand that we're all bumbling around in this world trying to figure it out, and then we can have a little bit more compassion and connection and less judgment and open communication. Yeah, and it's hard.
And it is, but maybe relax a little bit and really just embrace.
Exactly. Yeah. And kind of lighten up on ourselves.
Yeah, lighten up. That's a good way to put it. All right, so now I know you're an author, you're a psychotherapist, but you also call yourself an authenticity architect.
Yeah.
What is authenticity architecture?
Yeah, it's a model I created based on my life's work, because all the years of trying to help moms feel good enough, and then my second book, Letters to Freedom, is about shame. It's a memoir about, it's about I have so many books.
Yeah.
Memoir about grief. And I'm also doing some training for a large organization on shame in clinical practice. And so whenever there's something we don't want, like shame and grief and not enoughness, I always want to look at what is it we do want. Because it's easy to name what we don't want. It's easy to complain about what we don't like, but what is it we do want? And so to me, it came full circle back around to authenticity. And so I first thought authenticity archaeologist, because we're digging up the parts of ourselves that we lost. And then I thought, no, it's more about, it's digging up the parts, but it's also recreating them and rebuilding them. So my whole model that I'm working with therapists now, that's my book that's coming out in the fall for therapists on working with shame in clinical practice and recreating the authentic self. And so really digging up these pieces of our false self, our not enoughness, to create something that is more whole and more aligned with our life's work and our purpose.
I think that's wonderful. Now, as a mom, you mentioned how wonderful that it is you get to work with your daughters. We have a few seconds left, so tell us what that's been like and how that's changed you.
Yeah, well, my oldest daughter is a school psychologist and a parent coach as well, and we love France, and so we've been planning this France trip together and also doing some online webinars. The France trip is actually going to be next year on my websites this year, but it's happening next year, and it's wonderful. I mean, it's so amazing to see my daughters be mothers. Amazing.
I'm sure that's an incredible sort of, you know, comes full circle and you get to see that.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations and thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. To sign up to work with Dr. Ashley online or in person for individual or group sessions, please visit her website, pattyashley.com. And on September 14th in Longmont, Colorado, join her for an all-day workshop. It's called Embracing the Paradox of Self-Acceptance. So great to talk with you.